or is they in the city as well? Or is like in the farm country? Where will you find them the most, or do they just roam? Just like deers, like in upstate Connecticut and New York. They're just part of the landscape, and you know to watch out for the deers, you know, on the road. Is that what the pier is like, just like the deers in upstate New York and Connecticut?
It's very interesting. In Belize, you know, we have wildlife everywhere. You know,
Right.
that the vast majority of the country is undeveloped. I mean, we're like at 80% undeveloped. So, I mean, you're driving literally... I am driving with my children, and we're coming back, and they're all adult children, and we're driving back from San Pedro Island to go back into San Ignacio, and we're on the highway,
Right.
which a highway in Belize is a one-lane road each way. No traffic, there's no street lights, you know, on the highway, you just keep on going. So anyhow, we're on the road, and we get right near around where the Belize Zoo is. And I'll be darned if I start slowing down because it's dusk. And I'm like, what's that in the road? And I was like, what is that? So I slow down, and I stop. It's a jaguar. And she is slowly going across the street like this. And she's laden. She's pregnant. And she's laden with her belly. And she walks across the street and gets to the other side. And, of course, no one in the car, we're not making a noise. We all took a breath and we didn't breathe again. We were all... And she gets to the other side. She turns around, and I'll never forget this. She turns around, and she looks at us like, thank you for stopping. Well, then all of a sudden, all my kids were like, oh my God, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? And I had 3 of my children in from, you know, they were in from college from the United States visiting Belize. And then my teenage daughter that had moved with me and my goddaughter, we were all in the car. And we're all like, oh my Lord, did you see that? So to answer your question, they're all around. You know, we have a Belize Zoo, which is the most famous small zoo in the whole wide world. A most wonderful woman started it, and we only have Belizean animals, and they're only rescue animals. Ah,
That's nice.
it's fabulous. So I'm there with Yvette and her father, and we're doing the Belize talk show with the lady that runs the zoo, who's wonderful, Sharon Montola, and I see the tapirs. And there's this sign that says, you know, from Scotty, who's the tapir, says, you know, be careful because I might pee on you. And it's a little sign, you know, a little wooden sign, cute little sign. Well, I don't think anything of it, and I'm taking pictures of him. And he's sideways, and then he turns with his back to me. So I'm taking pictures, and I'm observing, you know, the tapir. And Yvette and her father start walking away, and they get just a couple feet away, and I start howling, cackling, laughing my tush off. And so what had happened is I did not know, and listeners, you need to know, it's all coming from thanks to ChefSessy making sure you know this, tapirs pee backwards. Backwards. Not sideways, not front ways, not anything. They don't lift a leg, they just pee backwards. So note to y'all, but they're known as the mountain cow, and you know they don't look like a cow, like you had said, more like a big wild boar. And you know I've pet them and touched them. They're very, very beautiful animals. And in the Belize Zoo, that's the pleasure of going there, is that they don't have them like in cages. They're in their own environment with, you know, natural boundaries for them, but not something that's constrictive. And, I mean, you know, the monkeys are up in the trees running around. They have a good home. Why do they want to go anywhere?
Right. That's amazing. I like that. That's, you know, that's when you tell people, you only can get that in another country. You only can see this in the rainforest in its beauty in itself. That's what I like, you know, the beauty in itself.
It is beautiful.
I don't know how to explain it because when you're talking, what is it? Describe a day of getting up when you first got there. What was it like?
Well, one of my very favorite things is the toucans in the morning. They come in if you have a piece of wood outside your house. If you put wood out and you put every morning you have to be diligent about it. You put fresh fruits, like they love papaya or mango, and you put that in there or next to a trumpet tree, they'll come in. So when you wake up in the morning, the fascinating thing for me about Belize in comparison to St. Petersburg, Florida, was that you hear all the noises of the children walking to school. You hear the church bell at 6 a.m. ring. You hear the birds wake up with the day, and it's all very tropical, but it's very authentic, and it's something that I just fell in love with. I fell in love with it. I could wake up with the day, and I can hear the sounds, and I can hear the church bells ring, and I can hear the children walking in the streets because they don't hop on a bus and go to school. They walk to school,
right?
And then they walk home at lunchtime too. And then they walk back to school, and then they, at the end of the day, walk back home. So, it's kind of like going back into time. And, it's a small community. It's just very different. We only have 300,000 people in the whole country.
Wow. That's nice, though. But that means you know everybody. And there was a painter where he did a mural that was very beautiful. And he was talking about your holidays versus American or USA's holidays because that's still part of America, South America, but they have different holidays too. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but what are some of the holidays and the holiday times down there in Belize?
It's a very good question, and holidays are big in Belize. There's a lot of the Catholic holidays because a lot of the Catholic schools and churches are there, and they have. Easter's a big deal. Easter, basically Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Easter Monday. You're not going to find stores open. You're not going to find restaurants open. You're going to find very few things that are actually open. People take it seriously, and Christmas is one of my favorite things. In Gales Point, there's a place, my favorite place is Gales Point, that has this drumming, where they drum. It's a peninsula, and they drum at one end of the village, and they go from each house, and then the whole village goes together. And there's a village about 400, people there, and a very dear friend of mine, Boombe, who is a authentic Garifuna drummer, and he teaches there. He's one of my dearest friends. I've done shows with him. And he's just a fabulous man. One of my first friends ever in Belize, by the way. But so the drumming, the whole village goes from house to house, and they drum. They have some homemade wine, and then they do that for 15 minutes, half an hour, and they go to a next house, and they go to the next house, and then they end up at the end of the peninsula, and everyone just crashes there. They have a big sambai, a big dance. They have lots of music and food. It's just the most wonderful experience. If you ever have the chance at Christmas time to be in Belize, you don't want to miss that. Contact me because I can help you find the right people and figure out how to actually make that happen. It's fabulous.
That's good. So what made you want to become a realtor? What was your reason for actually going to Belize? I've never heard that story. Why did you move to Belize and pack your daughter up at a teenage when it's their most difficult time? I must really commend you of actually moving to a foreign country with your daughter at the age. And not, what made you and what was your support? That's another thing.
Well, truth is stranger than fiction. You can't write it. And I had gone, as you know, I'm a Reiki master, and I had gone to go teach at Calpech Resort for 2 weeks. Okay. And while I was sitting there, and this was on, on October 1st, October 10th, I said, you know what, I'm going to move here. And the other ministers that were with me were like, oh, no, she said that. Because for me, if it's so said, so done. I say it, I do it. It's, right. When you get that inspiration, if you don't follow it, what you resist will persist. So you're much better to follow it because that's where the magic is. Right. And I'm a big believer in inspiration. And it comes from the Latin word in spirit, in spiritus. And so I listened to it. It's the beauty. It's the gift. So I went back and, I told my daughter that, who was living at the house, and, I had 8 kids, and all, they were all different ages, but they were pretty much out of the house except the one that was, at that time 13. She says, well, she deadpan looked me in the face and she says, well, I think we're supposed to go. I said, we? I'm going when you graduate, little one. And she says, no, I think we're supposed to go. And I said, well, you haven't been there. I want you to pray on it. Do your research. And on January 3rd, on your brother's birthday, if you have not changed your mind and you feel like I do that we're to move, we'll do it. Wow. So January 3rd came. She did not bat an eye, change her mind, nothing. She felt it so strong. And my daughter has instincts that are phenomenal on. And I'm wise to trust those instincts because she's dead spot on. Always. And so anyhow, we moved. I put the house up for sale. It sold in less than a week. And on March 9th of that same year, we were gone. With 10 animals, 2 teenagers, my best friend from high school, 4 containers in Belize. So my church had 50 acres there. And so, I was going to go to do mission work, use the money from the proceeds of my, the sale of my house to live. Living in Belize is not expensive. If you live like a local, if you own your property, you're good to go. Your living expenses are very nominal. Property taxes are negligible. I mean, maybe $200 a year to $50 a year for a property for taxes. So anyhow, I then started looking because I need to have a property to call our home. And when I did that, I had 3 guys in San Ignacio show me property at 3 different prices, the same property, 3 different prices.
Wow.
So, I told you I trust those instincts. I keep my mouth quiet. My dad always says you give people enough rope, they'll figure it out on themselves how to show you who they really are. And I went back, and my friend Daniel Silva owned the resort that we were actually staying at until who was a friend before I moved to Belize. He actually stayed with us in Florida. And so, he doesn't want us living in his resort forever with 10 animals, of course. So I said, listen, is it because, I'm a gringa? Is it because I'm a single woman? Is it because, I'm young or, I was 34 then? So, what is it? And he says, it's just what they do. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed to charge whatever price they want when they're selling it. I said, well, realtors aren't allowed to do that. And he says, well, we don't have NAR in Belize. They didn't have National Association of Realtors then in Belize. And I said, well, that doesn't work for me. How am I going to find out that, the price I'm getting is the real price and that the person selling it isn't keeping a ton of money and that the actual owner is not getting, the real amount of money he's supposed to? He says, you're really not going to be able to do that. I said, whoa, that makes me worried. He says, well, you don't be worried. He says, I got 21 properties for sale. You take my properties and you show them how to do it differently. You give somebody another option of choosing somebody like you to work with. And I went, whoa, okay. So all of a sudden, that's how Rainforest Realty came, and it just was born like that. So I was wise. In my opinion, I was very wise. I asked him, who do you trust that can give me, as far as lawyers, that can, teach me the right ropes and the figures that I need to know as far as buying and selling property. And he helped me a tremendous amount because he cared that I was doing a good job with his properties and that I was actually giving people, the real information they needed when buying and moving to Belize. So that's how that all happened. I didn't go there with intentions of it, but my mom was a realtor since I was a child. She's a broker. So I knew better. I know how we're supposed to. When someone gives you a property to sell, you sell it. And they pay a commission from that. You don't take it for the price they're selling it and add whatever you want to it. Right. That's just not how that's not how we do it.
Right.
So
there's, like I said, some shams out there.
Yes, you can hear them, right? That's the ADT system. We don't have ADT systems in Belize, but we have.
Yes, you do.
But we have doggies. We have doggies. And, I don't worry about much. I live my life well, and it's very healthy in Belize, which is, we're going to talk about that, right? And, of course, I'm burning my copal, so I'm very happy about that.
Right. And you also have a Reiki center. Do you have a Reiki healing center there, too, that you practice Reiki on others?
I actually will practice per person that comes to me. I don't do a center or anything like that because there is really some wonderful healers in Belize,
Right.
I'm really excited, frankly, with what you're bringing, and you're coming to Belize with these women. It's going to be so empowering and life-changing for them, because Belize, the predominant color is green. It's very healing naturally. But the vibration in Belize, my office at Rainforest is right about half a mile from the Mayan ruins. So you cannot imagine the feeling that is in this place, because there's not all the electronics. We don't have all of the microwaves, and we don't have all of the cell phones. I mean, there's only 300,000 people in the whole country. So you can feel the energy, and even when you're working in manifestations and you're working on cleansings of chakras, or even ear candling, everything is way different on a different vibration level. Very healing.
See, and that's what I like. You said ear canning, or we call it ear coning.
Yeah.
But know that they're actually stopping that and saying there's a here on the USA side, just like Reiki, unless you are a licensed massage therapist, you're not allowed, or a ordained minister, you're not allowed to perform Reiki on people or pranic healing for people.
And isn't that odd? Because there's even medical schools that are actually teaching. They have a session that you can teach and learn Reiki.
Right.
It's not something that's woo-woo. It's, when the best way I ever explain Reiki to people is when you walk in a room and someone feels great and wonderful, and you feel that energy, and you feel it, and you're in charge, and you're happy, and la 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 woo.
Right.
And then when you walk in a room and someone's throwing stuff down, and they're mad, and they're angry, and they're scowling, and their whole persona feels ick. That's
right.
Reiki. It's just energy. So, we want to choose that good energy, don't we?
Yes, I know. I love it. Doing Reiki for a while, and just didn't understand the dynamics. And I talked to Diane Steen. I don't know if you know who she is. She did Reiki. She was the woman that wrote the book Women Are Healers back in the 70s, and then again in the 80s and the 90s, and then she wrote the Wiccan book and the Central Guide to Reiki. She wrote that book, and I was talking to her about it, and one of her students was one of the women that went to the board and made sure people had to be licensed, either a registered nurse, in order to practice Reiki. She went to the board after learning from her Reiki, and went to the board and put this so that only licensed people, licensed massage or ordained minister, or someone with the license could practice Reiki in the United States. She went to the board, and I was like, wow. She said she was very upset about this.
I can imagine.
And I was like, wow. And she believes Reiki is supposed to be shared, but she tells you how to get around it. And, how to make the law work when you're able to do Reiki, where someone is not saying you're practicing medicine without a license, and that's what they call it. Or you're diagnosing someone. Like, you can't say that. I'm like, wow. There's a lot of things that we do, here that I know if they go to Belize, it won't be a need, like the going in the pools, and actually cleansing in the water, the salt water and the earth and on the beach, and it's actually cleansing for their feet, because as they're going through the beach, they don't need a pedicure. You know what I mean? It's a natural pedicure. Like they need a cleansing. While you're in salt and it's sea and it's cleaning you, guess what? You're getting a natural spiritual cleanse. So, everything is natural. You're seeing the plants, you're growing, the water is flowing. And the more you're there, the more vibrant and vivacious you're becoming. Like a lot of the fruits and vegetables for healing that has vitality actually come from Belize and other, countries surrounding the area. And it's nothing to do a raw or a vegan diet there, because the plant life and the way it grows and the expectancy, and also the herbs there, the herbs that are different from the United States that are healing. And the Mayans in itself, it's like, wow, I want to be able for them to understand the Mayan ways and to experience that, and actually walking in the beauty of the pyramids, and actually seeing and going there. Now, I don't know. They said they weren't letting a lot of people. This was on Discovery Channel, and this might have been years ago. You know how National Geographic had changed, that they weren't letting people in the pyramid. They only could be outside the pyramid. Is that true?
That's true. The thing is that the ruins in Belize is, for the most part, you're usually on the outside of them anyway. Right. There is my favorite ruin that's right by my office is Calpech Ruins, and it actually has chamber rooms that you can walk in and out of, and it has pathways that you walk through the ruin. So, that's going to be on our list for sure to take the women to. And my dear friend was on the show, the Ghostbusters show, where they did a really neat show there. He does shamanic work, and we're absolutely going to have him part of this, because he'll be way too much fun with us all. And he's so knowledgeable. And, when you were talking about the herbs, it reminds me of my dear friend Ginny that works in my office. She's actually from Belgium, and her mother's lived in Belize for 30 years. She had gone to the U.S., and she had gotten like a really bad rash on her chest area. And, kind of like welts and, some kind of skin not happiness. Is that a word? Skin not happiness? It is now. So anyhow, she got this cortisone cream, and then she got, in the States, and then she got some steroidal cream at the doctor's, and then she got some other cream that was a antifungal cream, and she had done all these different things, and she comes back to Belize, back home 3 weeks later to Belize, and we have a plant that's behind our office that's called Polly Redhead. And it's something that we use for the dogs. If you see dogs, they have mange, you take a bath of, you give them a bath of the Polly Redhead plant. Right. So anyhow, she boiled up the Polly Redhead and put it on, and 24 hours later, gone. Right. See, so, it's powerful when you work with something that has the right dynamic for your body. It's not, something that's been synthetic that's going, the opposite direction. So, it's always easier to work with the energy.
Right. And that's a plus, And the fruits and vegetables there, like we're seeing, are very unique. Not only the moringa plant, which people don't know that you can actually eat the leaves. You can actually use the seeds to purify the water, and it also strengthens your immune system, but it's a good source of wood as well, so it actually gives you a multiple use, a multiple purpose of what this earth is supposed to be done, is to be reply and replenish, and that's a good plant to have.
Everyone should have them. Everyone should have a moringa. We have one outside our office, and the leaf cutter ants, they come through and they love to eat the leaves, and they'll clear off a tree. Well, they ate the moringa tree, which, by the way, was only about 6 inches when I planted it, and is now, you'll see it at the office, it's now about probably 25 feet, and that was like in 5 years, by the way. But anyhow, they cleared off all these leaves, and don't you know, a week later, all the leaves were back. Right. It's such an amazing, and the leaves taste good. We take them right off and put them in the salad. I frankly cannot wait for you to come here to Belize with your talent of your alchemy of foods. Wow. With the selection you're going to have, we're all going to be blessed.
I'm reading, like I said, I know that's where I want to be. And my friend was like, well, how do you know? I said, Belize keeps coming up. I was in the laundromat washing my clothes. Lo and behold, I see a tour that says Belize. And it's a magazine as I'm folding my clothes. And I was like, okay, all right. I said, I get it. And then something else came up, and me and my daughter was talking, and it was Belize. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, look, I know that I'm not a United States girl, okay? I already know that. I summed that up, and I've always said I wanted to live on my own island. And it was like, okay, well, don't know why. I like avocados. And as I said, the agriculture out there is phenomenal. And if you see the land and what you get for it, and the properties when you're looking, and the water, and sometimes some of the properties I've seen, I don't know if they still have them, they actually have a farmhouse that you can actually live in if you want to even develop. While some of the stuff, I think it was avocados and papaya. that were actually growing on the land. Was it papaya? Or, I know it was avocado, and it was growing on land, and it had a little tiny small house, but they said it was a farmhouse, you know. And then they had a little something of a house that other people stay when they work the land. And they were actually selling this. And I'm like, and this was acres and acres of land for inexpensive. So someone saying they're coming to United States, from the United States to Belize, and they're looking for this particular land, what would you suggest they do if they're contacting you? What would be the first thing you would have them do? How would you help them?
Very good question. And the first way that I would help them is I would say, you know, email me and then we'll set up a time to talk on the phone. Because then I can communicate and I can listen to what their needs are and their wants are. And then give them ideas of where that would fit into which area of Belize. And that matters. For example, if they want to do agriculture, well then the Cayo district is actually where I had chosen, you know, where I chose obviously to move to. It is just a wonderful place to actually grow because I don't have a green thumb, but I can grow anything in Belize.
Okay.
So, you know, it's because the land is so fertile. It's just amazing land. So, you know, if that's what, and some people are like, well, no, I want to be on the beach. And so then there's different areas. They may think they just want to be on one of the islands, but there's other areas that may be more conducive for them for, you know, their financial structure. They don't want to be on an island. There's a lot of different questions. So it all starts with one thing, communication.
Now, my other thing is that you get retirees that retire. Would this be the place for them? Can they retire? Can a retiree come to Belize and actually live on their retirement?
They can. At the age of 45, you can be considered legally retired in Belize, and there's a qualifying plan that you need to sign up for, and we have all that information we can send to people if any of your listeners want to have that. But what happens is when they sign up for the plan, they can be in Belize. That's their form of residency without having to go get a stamp in their passport every month. Because if you live in Belize, you need to get a stamp in your passport every month if you're a visitor. Or you can come to Belize and do the stamp in the passport, you know, once every month and then apply to be a resident.
Okay. See, that's good. These are things that they would want to know. And, you know, the currency is good. And now, I know some countries have it where you can't take away work from people in that country. They don't want you to clog up their system coming and taking jobs from them. Is that a way, or like, I think for me, I would like to be an entrepreneur to bring more jobs there for them to get better wages. But can someone do that if, you know, a person come there? Can
Absolutely.
They, you know, find employment?
The best way to do it is, you know, I start with communication with people, asking them, okay, so what is your job skill? Okay, this is how I can see that fitting in Belize. Because yes, you're absolutely right. You don't want to take a job away from a Belizean because we need to have our, you know, our local jobs. However, if you're going to open up, for example, we have a client that bought a building to do a call center, and so, you know, that's employing people. So that's the business he has. However, he's employing a lot of, you know, Belizeans at the call center. And because everyone speaks English, it's easy to have a call center. So anyhow, but, you know, a lot of people come and open up their own restaurant. They open up their own bar. There's a hardware store right now for sale. So there's a lot of different options as far as people wanting to, they make their own employment is the best way that I recommend it.
Okay. Now, the loan system, you would be able to walk them through the loan system. Is their credit based on, this is one question a girl asked me to ask you, is their credit from the United States applied the same way as it is in Belize, or they're working from something different?
It's a very good question. And the lenders that we use, they usually require 40 to 50% down.
Okay.
And in other words, they want you as invested in the property as they're going to be, and then which makes perfect sense.
To me, it does.
Perfect sense. Yes. And then, you know, they'll loan you the money. They will ask for, you know, if you have any references, if you came from North America or you came from Europe, they'll ask for any references that you have. They don't per se use the U.S. credit score thing because that's different for, you know, Belize, of course. We don't have that system. have a credit scoring system. So basically they want to know that you're invested in the property. And then if someone's 50% invested in the property, they're going to make the right decision and not buy something they're not going to make the payments on.
Heck yeah.
Just saying.
Right. So, and another question. What did she say? Let me read this. Now, is in some parts of country, there people can buy. I'm reading.
It's okay.
Lease to own property. Is there such a program there?
So the lease to own property thing, or there's a program for Belizeans that can lease. They can get lease land from the government. A foreigner cannot come in and buy leased land. And I stress them adamantly to not do it, because somebody will say, oh, I have a piece of property and here's my paper and here's what I've got. Right. And you're thinking you're buying something, and you cannot legally buy a lease. So what happens is then, if you find out later that you can't get title to it, well, then you want to go to the court system. You have no rectification because you bought something that wasn't legally allowed to be sold. So you don't want to do that. Now, sometimes you can buy property from someone that's selling it, that has clear title, that has everything, and of course you want to do the diligence. That's where I come in. Yeah, that's where I come into play, because I can help with that. The diligence has to be done, and then you can make payments to the seller if that's something that the seller will take.
See, that was a good question.
Right, they're all good questions.
So, because I know it's like in the schooling, is there a homeschooling association there in Belize that people get together, just like you would do, like they do here in the United States, that they homeschool and some of them do it together and one person teaches, or they teach together and they do classes together, or do they also have it where they do online system of going to school?
These are great questions.
Feasible there?
Your viewers have the best questions. So good for you. That means they're so smart. I love it. So no, actually there isn't like a homeschool association. And even when I went to Belize, I wanted it was very important for me for the children to go into the school system, because I wanted them to have friends, and I wanted them actually part of the culture, and I didn't want them home and kept out of that. So, then later on my daughter wanted to do homeschooling her senior year, and I was like, okay. Well, I looked around for people that were also doing that, and it was very difficult. I mean, this was 11 years ago, to find anybody that was doing that system. And so what happened is that, we did the homeschooling ourselves, and she just did her own thing, and still had all her friends that she had from school, and a great, fantastic life because of that. Now, this year, I can tell you, I have seen in 2014, I have seen so many families that are coming in with their children, and many of them are homeschooling, and they're getting together with more homeschoolers. I don't know what happened in the U.S. in the last, probably, I would say the last 2 years, but we have had a turn of events where children are moving to Belize with their family, of course, but they're doing it while their children are young. So mine were teenagers. But, I mean, they're bringing children that are, there's a family of 5 that moved, and they had a newborn that was in the belly, and they had him up staircased, I think, until only the age of 7. So, there's a lot of families with young children coming in, and some of them are opting for the local schools, and then they add to it anything else that they want to at home. But you know what, Belize? The people are very literate. The children go to school, and they're very well read and literate. And right. I know in the United States there was a lot of areas that children were not so blessed to have that. And most of the children in Belize are brilliant, because they speak, some of them will speak Spanish, they'll speak Mayan, they'll speak the Creole language, and they'll speak English. Right. Wow. So that's some are 3 or 4 languages.
Yes, and that's where to go, because in Africa they have to speak 27 languages.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, like, what? It's like, you got to speak 27 languages. And if you don't, there's something wrong. And I was like, wow, so that's astonishing. But that's also good, too. So tell me, what is the variety, like they don't have, like, meat factories like we do here in the United States, and um, and chicken, like they're not factory. There's like local dairy farmers and local, you get your meat and so forth fresh from the local farmers around it, correct?
It's very different. We have, on the Western Highway, for example, in San Ignacio area, we have the Running W, which is a great butcher shop that has amazing cuts of meat. And you can see, you see all the animals all around it, and this is on the main 2-lane highway.
Right.
And then in Spanish Lookout, which is the Mennonite community, they raise chickens there. They actually provide most of the dairy for our whole country, if not close to almost all of it. They have all of the milk cows. They make the cheeses and the sour cream. And by the way, the sour cream is phenomenal. It's just very different. They also make the ice cream. So you're right, and you can go to there's other places that you can go get what we call local chicken from, like a farmer that is raising his own chickens. The eggs are so fresh that when you go in the grocery store, and this kind of freaked me out coming from the U.S. to Belize, I had all these U.S. things that you have to like take that hat off and go, okay, open my eyes and be really part of one of the universe. I go in the grocery store and there's egg little wood, cardboard little carton holders, flats of them, with the eggs sitting outside. They're not in the refrigerator, they're outside. And come to find out, when they're fresh, they don't need to be refrigerated.
Correct. And they're not pasteurized.
It's
So
wild.
that's the thing. You can get raw milk there as well.
Amazing, isn't it?
See, so that's what I'm trying to explain people. The process, like the flour there is not the same in the United States. It's not made with the uk and guk that we have here and GMOs and the corn. They were like, no, it's not. It's different. It's not more organic living, whole food living, because of the herbs and because of how their animals are treated and how their animals are taken care of versus United States is just a glue factory. And that's how I see all the things. It's just glue factory, just pushing through. It's almost like the cows are treated like they used to do the ducks for foie gras.
Very different.
Ducks. So that you don't have to worry about, like doing goose. I don't know if you have goose there. That's something that my friend says it's very British. A goose is very British to have a goose versus our turkey or chicken. So what is the birds there that are known there, like the poultry that is known there?
So they do have turkey. And, of course, I'm there. I moved and I needed to make my first Thanksgiving, which was fun because we invited a bunch of Belizeans. And it was just fun to share that with them. And, they share all their cultures with me, and I got to share one back. It was awesome. But so I was like, where do I get, there's no butterball. So I was like, I need a turkey. So, I drove my Hilux down to, Running W, and I was like, oh, they've got turkeys. Woohoo!
Right. See,
So
and that's good.
you can get these things. It's actually fascinating to me because even in the last 11 years, the changes that I have seen, there's a lot of things that we can get in Belize that we couldn't before.
Uh-huh.
But there's a lot of things that I wouldn't even want because I like all the local stuff. I moved to Belize for that local food. I like the avocados right off the tree. I like the bananas that hang upside down, and you can, you take the whole stalk and you hang it from a rope, and you get to take one on one off. It's very different. And
Right.
my daughter, God bless her, we moved to Belize and we had pineapple,
Uh-huh.
and my daughter goes, "Wow, the pineapple in Belize is so much better." I
Right.
said, "Well, babe, that's what it's supposed to taste like." And she's like, "Well, it's way different." I said, "Yes, because that stuff in the can in the States and the pineapples you get in the States were picked when they were green and shipped and gassed and traveled thousands of miles. And, made to get ripe instantly for you because they got gassed. And here, you take it and you cut it and you can take it right off the stalk and eat it. So,
Right.
you can't beat that. You can't, they say that we're supposed to eat like in a 100-mile radius.
Right.
In Belize, a lot of times it's a mile radius.
That's good.
Woohoo!
Really good. So, and that's what I'm looking forward to, that beauty, and that's what I liked. Like when I seen around, because I was like looking at the area, and I was like, I'm liking this farm area. I like the fresh fruit. I like avocado. I like the banana. And a lot of people that actually have latex allergies, just for FYI for you guys, this would be the perfect place to go, because they don't latex their bananas, they don't latex their avocados, they don't latex their apples or berries. You don't have to be like that. Where here you have latex, we have a lot of latex allergies. The United States have the most allergies than anybody I've seen in the last 20 years. And it's not getting better, it's getting worse. And the system and how they're doing it with the GMOs and Monsanto and all that other stuff, it's horrific to be a kid. But the beauty there of eating fresh herbs and the water and the fresh air and actually walking, and actually I've seen a picture on your website, which I like, is you can actually rent a bike and ride a bike versus going around in a car.
Yep.
Where people are like, where they're doing horses or donkeys. Not really. All depends on where you live at. Because there are some people that actually live deep in the jungles.
Oh, yes.
Correct?
Lots of them. And, we have a place right next door to our office that rents, the motorcycles now. And that has just gone, I think that's when you were talking about, that's just gone off exponentially, because people are like, I can just take a quick jog now, on the motorcycle, instead of renting a hire car, which is much more expensive. But, there is a lot of people that are living further out. And my dear chef, I can't wait till you come to Belize, because you're going to love the local market. I don't know if you've seen any of the videos that I did on YouTube for the market downtown. Okay, those are have you seen the one where I have all of these things and we're trying to hold it all, and it was like it was like $8 and we had so much vegetables and fruit that the whole family could not have gone through that in the whole week. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But you just, it's fabulous. It's, we have the ricotta, which is you're going to just love this, because there's going to be so many fun things. You're going to just make magic, I know, in Belize with your talent. Ricotta is it comes off of it's actually like a fern plant. You take it, the little seed, and it's red. It makes a powder, and it's what we use for the stewed chicken and stewed sauces. And it just has a fabulous taste to it. So, yeah, you're going to have all sorts of good things to work with.
So that's good, because that'll help me write another book, because I'm supposed to work on a book. It's supposed to be out this December, but it's metaphysical, and it's called Culinary Alchemy.
Ooh.
And how to, I use a lot of crystals. I make elixirs. And the fact that you have, I believe Carol said there's some crystal caves there.
There is.
So I make different elixirs, healing elixirs with crystals. And I make different tinctures with crystals. I've been good enough to work with different herbs wherever I've been, to make them work and actually turn them into culinary delights. Like I work with kava kava, and I make kava kava bliss balls.
Ooh!
That takes away, a pain. So that used to be my thing. I'm the food alchemist. I make kava kava boy. I make kava balls that take away the pain that you're working with. That, and it's sugar free. And I was like, okay, now me being that I'm a sugar free person, I like yucca.
Oh.
Do you know what yucca is?
I do.
I like that as a sweetener versus using sugar, because here it's processed, unless I can get turbinado sugar, which is raw sugar, unprocessed sugar, or cane sugar, which is different than processed sugar. Processed sugar, I let people know, is one molecule from crack and cocaine. Crack and cocaine. One molecule, scientific molecule. That's why it's addicting and not good, but it's good fermenting, because I make kombucha, but it's used with raw organic. Have you ever had kombucha?
I love it, yes.
So
good! I can't wait to try yours.
The stuff that I'm here, and I want to be able to take those and make live cultured fruit and vegetables when I get there. And I want to take it from each country, like I did in Hawaii. learn each place. I want to learn what's the local and be able to take it to another step that we can actually translate and actually eat, or take it where you can make the soursop candy, jelly candy that is not processed, that is made from the seed like an agar or the Irish moss, which is very good. You can do that, and it's vegan and it's vegetarian and it's not going to harm, but it's giving work back. And like I said, I have a lot of plans, and I see this, and it's like a vision. So my spirit is saying you really need to go there, and you really need to work with these people. So I really want to come before these ladies actually get on their tour and spend some time walking around myself. And also I want to be able to, and we're going to stay at a farm.
Okay.
It's a working farm, and the gentleman is called Chacha Farm, something, in the area around where you are.
Yeah.
And he was nice enough, and she told him I was a chef, and that I wanted to mix food, and he's only going to charge me a little bit just because the fruit and vegetable grows on the land, and whatever we pick, he was just going to charge me a little fee, and to use the kitchen, that we will actually have fresh smoothies. And that is really good to have fresh smoothies in the morning, or, you know, going to the local cafe. Your coffee is different than American coffee.
It is.
And it's more organic than it is processed, that I'm learning. Just looking at all that stuff is just phenomenal, that they'll have there, going and looking and tasting all the fruits and vegetables, and realizing that it is really apropos that they can actually live this lifestyle with the fruit, with the vegetables. You know, there's cheese. You have cheese makers, so if they make sour cream, I know they got to be making cheese.
Yes.
And yogurt, and how to do this. And there's so many things that I could see that people come in there that they're going to be in awe of, that they're going to actually want to come back again. And that's my point, come back again, and actually might want to look around and like it so much, you might find people that actually might not want to go home.
It's true. That's true. We actually, you know, I'm very impressed with it. We have a lot of locals that have, not locals, expats that have moved to Belize. And, you know, like they're really adding things to the community. One group has, you know, started a line dancing, you know, event for everybody on Thursday nights. And, you know, it's just nice to see. There was a gentleman that came in from England that started a chess club. There was another guy that he makes cheese, and he has a resort on the Hummingbird Highway. He had actually started the whole chess foundation with his wife, and this English guy, you know, also did one in our local area. So what's phenomenal is that people bring good things with them, and, you know, these good people are meshing together because, you know, like-minded like to be around like-minded. You know, they're not looking to just sit and gossip and do, you know, whatever. They're looking to, you know, be part of the community and are just awesome. And I'm so, like, in love with these people. They're just fabulous. And I like people that come into Belize and want to be part of the local culture because, you know, why move to Belize otherwise?
Right.
You know, don't change it. You know, just embrace what it is and enjoy it because it is a different country. It's just fabulous. You know, I can say, after 11 years, not one regret.
Wow, that's
not
amazing.
one. And I'm glad I didn't wait. You know, it's just awesome.
Now I have another question. How do you have electricity? Is it run off of? Do they have solar electricity? Do they have like the windmill electricity? What kind of thing do they have, like echo versus like taking away from
the environment?
Like electricity in the United States, how we use it, like it's like willy-nilly, like it's nothing, and it comes from a big factory. Is there something that they do? Because I know he was saying he had candles, and they had candles. He showed me how his house was. They had little candles, and they had wooden stoves when he grew up. My friend that was from Belize.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I said, now imagine. He said, and you got to make sure you have candles. And I said, so where we get candles? He said, from the store, the person. And I said, well, that went perfect for me because I make my own candles. I sew my own clothes. I'm basically trying to find somebody that'll teach me how to sew with a trundle machine. So I have my own all things is
You,
like that I like to do, and that's one, like, you know, when he showed me, I said that's kind of how like I would like my house, with candles. You know, electricity is nice, but have like the lamps he was showing me that actually they look like lamps, but they're not lamps. They're lanterns that he had in
yes.
his house, and they were beautiful. And he said, and they're very plentiful, and they had fireplaces for light. And their fireplaces, you know, it kept the house warm, but you also had a certain kind of stove, and you stoked it. And he said for every plant they took away or they demolished, they would plant another one. And I was like, "Are you serious?" He said, "But that's what his family did." And for each child that was gave birth to in his family, they planted a seed for that particular child. And I was like, "Wow,
Pretty neat,
that's
huh?
amazing."
Pretty neat. You see why I fell in love with Belize?
Yes. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, I like that. It's just totally amazing. So, you know, you guys, you definitely want to give them the website, because they're talking there like probably it's like, where do I go? Where do they find you? Because you have an expat radio show that they don't know about. You know, you're a realtor, you do Reiki, you're a big part of the community. You're always, you know, trying to help them out, and you're always featuring them, like the local artists from the farms. You even went to the internet cafe.
Yeah.
I've seen where you went across. It was a bumpy bridge. You were in this truck.
Yep.
And then I seen where you got stuck. Your neighbor helped you out. I mean, stuff like that. You know, you guys, I've been watching her for years. These videos that are on her radio show, because I was just trying to catch you live one day, and then it was expat, and there was another guy talking, but he wasn't in Belize. He was somewhere else talking about being an expat. And I was like, wow, okay, there's other people doing that. And I don't know, are you on the local, do they have like television, local TV shows and stuff like that for you to be on?
I used to host a weekly TV show called Belize TV Biography, and I would go and feature Belizeans' lives and give them, you know, the stage and the platform to talk about their life. So whether they were a healer or a politician, the first mayor we ever had in San Ignacio, you know, a historian, like the artist Pedro Cruz. It was a wonderful show. Emerita Sands, who was our first, you know, midwife in the area. And so that was a wonderful platform. And the reason I do the Belize Talk radio show is because the Belize Talk radio show, people can see, or they can listen to it anywhere in the world. And some of them I record and they're on the Belize Macarena YouTube. So like you said, you watch those videos. It's funny because I know all these different videos, and you've definitely watched them because they're all different ones. I'm like, oh yeah, that was the bridge. Oh yeah, that was when the truck got stuck. Oh yeah, that one was the market. I'm like, oh, you've seen a bunch of them. So people enjoy that because, you know, if they can't get a ticket to come right in, they can still get a really good feel for what the country is from an actual, you know, on the boots on the ground and being there. You know, we don't do the videography as far as like, you know, like perfect resort shots and things like that. We don't do that. We just do it as part of the, you know, the blog of the video blog of being out there and about.
And that's what I like. That's what I really like. Like you're saying, a midwife. Well, I'm a doula, so I would love to talk to this young lady about midwifery.
She'd love to talk to you.
Right. You know, I mean, so my friend was like, you know, I am going to finish taking hypnosis for birthing. That is something that I want to do. Like, I took self-hypnosis classes.
Wow.
So I did that. You know, like, I'm just always expanding. Like, there's work, there's prana healing, there's Reiki, there's Shishim. There's all this. I do color therapy and do vibrational therapy. Then I work with the crystals. Not only do I do crystal readings with the actual crystals themselves, but I have crystal cards. And then I started working with the crystal, doing crystal work. Yes. And that just came when I was 35. And don't understand, you know, all of a sudden it's like I got 35 and everything that I had suppressed from actually seeing stuff or seeing spirits, good angels, or being able to talk and read people, it just came more pronounced. Like, okay, now this is what you're going to do. And I'm looking at people like, you know, like really eerie. So when I contacted you, there was like, okay, am I going to be a fish out of water? And what you said is that when you did Reiki, that was a key thing. It was like, okay, that's a done deal for me. That's a done deal because I I don't socialize in the what we call the conventional world.
Right.
Like what I was saying, I like to live in the life, and that's what I want them to do. I want the ladies to take apart, take from this a lot of healing and a lot of learning, especially living in a different culture and immersing. Like I was like, well, is there like, I don't know. I was looking to see if they like had a hot springs there that they can like a hot, like you go and it's like a healing bath like they used to have back in the day. They used to go into the springs and actually get healed, or going to the waters and just immerse and let their body emerge in there.
Honey, there's waterfalls. There are waterfalls. My goodness, talk about healing. Yummy, yummy.
Right. So and I want them to be able to take a walk and be able to do this because this is a very healing place. That's all I've said for years is that my Belize, and my daughter was like, Mom, I said, I've been seeing Belize. Just seeing Belize and just it's been in my thing. And like, okay, well, we got to make this happen. And that's all I said. Okay, I'm going to get to Belize, and I want to take people with me. They need to take this journey, and it's going to be successful. And that's what I'm putting out to the universe. And I was like, okay, you got yoga there. You got the young lady that's out there in the holistic community there. So it's everything that can combine together. You got the midwifery there. So if anybody have any doubt, might be pregnant, want to get pregnant, they can actually work with her. But there's also Rosita Vertigo that actually works with people for, the womb and helping the womb, and the Mayan massage that, she wrote in her book, saying that women would actually come and from miles to see Don. I can't say his name.
It's Don Eligio Pante.
Don Eligio Fante.
Pante, yes.
They would come and see him and get adjusted.
Yeah.
And in America, it's very normal for people to say, oh, you have a prolapsed uterus, no big deal, blah, blah, blah. But they don't know that it can also cause some female issues, also can, have some infertility issues and repercussions because we're not taught not to push. We're actually on a table, which you're natural. You're learning, your body is relaxing when you're in a squat position. That's why women are able to have these babies in the field and just pick them up and grab them, cut off the thing, and keep going. It's because it's natural. And, I want them to experience that, how to actually sit on a toilet. People might laugh at me, but not everybody knows how to sit on a toilet and actually go to the bathroom.
See how many things we're going to learn with you?
That's the things, yes. That's the things they're going to learn.
No, I mean, really, it's phenomenal. What an opportunity. And to do it in a place like Belize with that vibration, you were just brilliant. You're very guided.
Thank you so much. I'm excited for these ladies. I am just especially knowing you. And I was like, okay, I'm keeping up. I'm figuring out what's going on. I was like, I don't know when the time is right. Everything will come in place. And then my sister went to Belize. She's not my sister. Everybody knows I don't really have a sister, but as far as I'm concerned, she's my sister from another mother.
Yeah.
Another mother and father. But she went to Belize, and I've been telling her about flower essence and a lot of stuff, like what to take, and I do aromatherapy, and I was telling her about this, and we drink alkaline water, where there you can use the pineapples. You can use the limes there to make the alkaline water, which is natural. And what we buy as vitamin water is natural there, and I want to teach them how to make vitamin water right there. And how it can be done, where they don't have to have Gatorade, they don't have to have this, and to take kombucha and make it another level, and that is natural probiotics, and take everything that is around them and incorporate in their body so that they'll have the healing. That is my goal. Everything that is there to incorporate what I already know and kick it up a notch.
I'm so
and
excited.
hopefully, get enough people or maybe talk to enough people and say, look, I would like to come to your retreat and do a raw vegan certification class or work with your staff and actually come up with the menu, because there's a lot of people that are sick that are actually going there to get healed.
Yes.
Because of that, they're what would I call? They're leaving United States by droves to look for healing in other countries, and Belize is the perfect place to go to get that healing. You got the waterfalls, you got the water element, you got the ground for the nourishing, you got the fruit, the earth, you got the trees, you got the wood, and you got the sun, which is the most powerful tool there. And it's not dehydrating like in Arizona. It's not dehydrating like in
no.
California. It's humid, but it's not humid enough. I don't know. This is what I need to know. Is it humid enough where it grows mold on your clothes?
It depends on where you are in Belize, because if you're in the depths of the rainforest, you're absolutely going to have to take care of those.
Okay.
Your books. You have to keep, it's even, like if an oil-based product or something on your shoes. And so, yes, that's a very great question. But the weather for me is very similar to Florida. Coming from Florida to Belize was like, oh, it's the same.
Right. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. You guys, you got that. Coming from Florida, it's the same. Arizona, you got to step up your notch. Just let you know, you're going to be hydrated a little bit. So, you got to get a list of the moisture, and your skin won't dry out so much. And I was talking to someone that came from Hawaii that came to Arizona, and I was telling her about this trip, and she was like, wow. And I said, well, I'm going to be doing my first live TV show the 21st, and I'm so excited about. I'm going to LA, and I'm going to be on her name is Cindy Silver.
Woohoo!
And I'm going to be on her show, and I'm actually going to make some treats, and I was like, this is what I want. I want people to see what I can do, and I want them to taste it. I'm all about taste, and I want them to feel it like I want. Like I did a healing event yesterday. That's why we couldn't do the show yesterday. I was supposed to be at a healing event, which I went, and it was phenomenal. I seen a guy that was Apache, and Spirit was in the thing and was able to give him a Apache chair and just gave him a reading. And then I went to healing him, and he was like, you do so much stuff. He was like, you got the crystals going on, you got this going on, you got that going on, and then you're blessing me with the healing. I said, the point of a healing for me is to leave you better than I found you and bless you with something to look forward to. And he was like, oh my gosh. Well, when he finished, he had a herniated disc. When I finished with him yesterday, he was able to get up and actually run around. No joke. And I was looking at him like, okay, it wasn't just the Reiki, was it?
It was the conduit, of course.
Right.
Yeah, the rest came in.
Right, I told him, it's not me. I'm just telling you what I feel. And then he sent somebody else there, and they sat down. and she went away, and I just, helped her, and was like, oh, wow. I'm around people that I actually want to be around. And I was talking about Belize there. And this guy said, you're going to have a phenomenal time in Belize. He said, if you ever decide to do men, let me know. I said, this has got to be a woman's journey first. We got to get our womb together. And I understand the men have wombs. I work with men, too, that have womb issues, which is, the prostate and all that other stuff and the cancer. And this is a perfect opportunity for them. So, me being a single woman, I wouldn't feel comfortable leading an all male group.
Got it. But you know what? We're gonna meet some people in Belize.
Masculine energy there. So that is my goal. I would like to bring them in for the healing too, but I would need to find someone that could help them with the masculine energy and train them what they need to do to show them what I do with that. But when it's one-on-one, it's different. But when you're in a whole bunch of men, it's just kind of, I don't want to compromise myself. So I want to train somebody that's a male.
I know some gentlemen that would love to have that time with you, so that's good.
Okay, yeah, because I'm finding that's becoming an issue. And the reason that is, I had a husband in 2006, and he died in 2007.
Oh, bless.
which is, it's okay because he taught me a lot of things. He was an older man. He was 59. He would have been 60. And if he had lived just by a couple of months, if he had lived that year, he would have been 60. Wow. But he taught me so much about the healing, the same healing that I deserve, he did, and I was worked with him. He could not, when I worked with him, he had an enlarged prostate. When I worked with him, he couldn't have any kids. Well, let's say that he was able to produce a kid. I finished with him. So it was like a blessing to say, okay, he said, you know what you're doing. And it just gave me that confidence. And then I said, well, maybe it was a fluke because he was my mate, you know. And then the more I worked with other people that became clients, it was like, no, you know, I just sit here, like, I hear him in my head. It's not a fluke. You know what you're doing. And he used to call me medicine woman. And that's what he's like, you're like a medicine woman. And I was like, I am not old enough to be a medicine woman. I'm only in my 20s, you know, just about to be 30, and you're calling me a medicine woman. Like, what do I look like? You know, they're them ladies with the bags. And last night, what did I say? I got my medicine bag. So that's like, yes, it's my name.
He saw it. He saw it. Yes.
Yes. So that's a blessing. So, I mean, but also, guess what? He was not from he was born in the United States, but moved out, lived in Belize for 25 years.
Wow.
25 years.
Wow.
15 years in the Virgin Islands, and 25 years in Belize. And he came back and seen me, and we started talking, and I don't know why he stayed. I told him I didn't like United States. I said, you're going to have to get me out of here. And it was wonderful because it was like, wow. So when you meet someone like that, they leave an impression on you. And then when you see it, it's like Belize is coming up. So I'm just out there for you ladies that's knowing if Belize is coming up or something's coming up in your spirit, recognize it and say thank you. Then this might be for you. If this resonates for you, working with Macarena Rose, you want to call her, you want to get in touch with her, you want to go to her website, you want to listen, you want to go on YouTube. This lady is phenomenal. She takes you on a tour like nobody's business. And it's not like, she said, a glossy appearance. It's an appearance of actual real people, not fake people. And I'm not saying the resorts are fake people. It's just that it's showing you the luxury and the glamour. If you want to be part of that community, you want to live there and be immersed in culture, which Belize has beautiful things. The dances, the cafes, and some of the restaurants that I've seen that was open. There was a man and a lady just recently just opened a place in Belize. It's very tiny and small. They had I think one child, a young child that actually moved there, and they opened a restaurant in Belize and fitting in and being very successful. Very successful. So it's a community, and that's what it's a community true. Of healing, of actually touching. It's not a microwave world, is what I want to say. Belize is not a microwave world.
No.
It's actually a caring and touching and healing community that a lot of people can benefit from, that they need to. Like, you got Reiki people, you got yoga people, and they don't understand about you not going to the doctors. Even though there's doctors there, there's internalists. Don't the doctors come and visit you there in Belize? You don't have to go to their office?
Well, you know, you actually go to their office, but if you were home and you couldn't go, they would come to your house. And, you know, I don't know where else you get that, really. Right. But it depends on how sick you are. If you just have a cold or something, you go to the doctors, that's fine. But otherwise, they'll come out to you. My aunties have a horse rescue farm out in Santa Familia, and you know, so if one of them's sick, the doctor, he'll actually is a friend of ours, Dr. Sanchez. You know, Jose will go out there and take care of them. It's nice. Amazing, and you know, you don't have, like, for example, a friend of ours needed to get an X-ray done and went to the doctor, and the doctor said, yes, you know, go get an X-ray. Well, you know, she went up to the hospital, got the X-ray, was back. I mean, this was all done before lunch. And the whole visit was $40 US, and that was for the X-ray, that was for the diagnosis, that was for the arm being taken care of and wrapped up. You know, very interesting. It's very to me, it's unbelievable that you can move to a country and get medical care and get treatments and find foods that are so out of the box of what we're used to,
Right.
that it almost makes you go, wow, why can't we do that where we were, where we came from?
Correct.
So, it's, the alchemy of how you put your foods together, and so much that you can share with people in Belize, which they're going to be fascinated about, with all of these new fruits and vegetables that you have to work with. But, you can bring that to Belize and be accepted that you're bringing something new like that people will be like, wow, I want to learn from you. And in turn, they learn with you and you learn with them. So it's just a yummy thing. There's 2 chiropractors that have moved to Belize, and they have an office, and they're taking care of people, which is, they said the practice that they had in the U.S. was so constrictive because they had to fill out all these forms and all of these insurance things and all of these if, ands, buts, and if it's A, B, and C, then you have to do D, E, F, Z, and don't forget F. And meanwhile, they're doing all of that stuff, and that stuff's taken away from the part of why they were in business, and that was to take care of people and heal them. So, the challenges that they had in the U.S., they just didn't want to do anymore. They were from Arizona, and they moved into Belize. I'm sorry, from New Mexico. So anyhow, when they came in, they then started using some of the local herbs and tinctures and things like that and made some of those products because they worked so much better. Then, like the bug spray, they made one that they can just spritz on their body, and it's natural. So it's an experience that no one will ever forget.
Right, and they have local herbal shops right there. Correct, right? They have local herb shops there.
Yeah, they have the market. The market has the herbs in them.
That's good.
Yeah, there's healers that you can go to their property and buy herbs from them directly. You can learn how to cut them yourself and dry them and do that. But there's people there that can show us how to do that kind of stuff. And that's what I wanted to learn. So, I've been very blessed that way.
See, that's what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that you can't buy this. We do a lot of permaculture, now that I'm in Arizona. When I was left, they were just starting. And when I was in New York, we had started at the CIA. I went to the Culinary Institute of America at the CIA. They didn't have a farm. Now we have a farm. Now we're talking, I'm zero my age.
It was a while ago. That's it. Leave it at that.
When I graduated from the Culinary Institute of America, there was no vegetable farming. And to start it up in this club, it was just a bunch of us pioneers that was taking over the world, and me being the vegan and making everybody else, it was just totally different. But to have that, and now it's actually a workable farm that they're actually producing and making stuff and actually using it in-house is amazing. It's really amazing.
Big difference.
So you're getting that 10 times fold because you have all these healing plants around you, and to be able to identify them, pull them, or boil them, or make a sap, and aloe is really good, and to put it on. And they also, what do? It's called cupping, where they're telling people here in the United States, we can't do cupping. A lot of stuff that you're finding the dumb do's that are in naturopathic medicine are okay there in Belize, and you might want to seek a treatment there and understand if you're having these aches and pains and stuff. This is the time to come. This is the time to heal. This is the time to begin. And you might find that, like I said, I have a feeling that some people come on this trip, they might not want to come back. So if that's the case, again, you want to know the area you want to go in, and you might want to book some extra time on your trip to stay afterwards. Because after your healing, you're going to need time to recover. That's just a suggestion. And you want time to walk around. You want to make an appointment with Macarena Rose, and she has other people in the office that are just as brilliant and sweet as she is, that are going to take their time and talk with you. And like she said, she does it personally. She goes by what you need, not what you want, or, let me rephrase that, what you're really looking for. And based on that, she doesn't sell you houses, she sells you a home. And there's a difference between selling a house and actually selling homes.
It's so true.
So
Very
home
poignant.
is somewhere where you fit in. A house is just a building and doors. And that's what we want. You know, at least that's what I want, and that's what I've seen her do. I've seen her in HGTV where she's actually talking to people around. And I've seen
5 of them.
You know, where there are some, us as Americans coming there are kind of difficult. We say we want to get away, but we still want to implement and have a lot of the American things, luxuries, built in, you know. So some of that you need to take, they do have the internet. I believe Carol said there's a telephone system, but a lot of people use, she said some people use cell phones. Not, you know, she said that's what they use, cell phones. Or they go to the internet cafe, they can actually have the internet in their home. So there's different things that you can do, but I like picking up a book. You know, for me, I just want to swing in my hammock, you know, enjoy nature. When I want to put my feet in the water and go to the beach, I want to go, you know, pick, you know, my pineapple, my papaya off the tree and call it a day. You know, that's just me. To me, that's wonderful. As long as I got books, I mean, I'll talk to people. If you want my help, I'll help you. But after I help you, just let me go back to where I was. It will be fine. I mean, and I like that. I like that healing because I'm craving that. And I got that craving from Hawaii, just to be able to walk on the beach and put my feet in the beach at the sunset and actually watch the sun rise. I mean, this is, you're having the tropics. I mean, you're going to see beautiful, beautiful animals that you can't see anywhere else. And they're part of nature. They're there. They're not being taken out of their inhabitant and put in a zoo and locked up in a cage and fed a diet they normally would not eat. They're actually nature on nature there, which is phenomenal. And just the different people that you're going to meet is like, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I mean, if I could make this go faster, time go a little bit faster, I would.
Stretch the time. We'll make it smaller. But actually, you know what? It's going to be in perfect divine order of whatever that time frame is. And yes, it will be exceptional. There's no doubt in my mind because it has all of your yummy energy. We're going to help on, you know, however we can on our end and, you know, introduce you to people that will help facilitate. And you're right. The healing will occur. And healing really truly occurs when you get out of your comfort zone and you get in a different space.
Yes.
Because the space is sometimes what's not resonating, and all that energy, you know, of not feeling balanced and good is all just beating there. So when you can break away from that, you can actually heal and come back whole. You know, we had a client that came in to look for property, and she found what she wanted, but she mentioned to me, I've had this problem in my belly, and I've been to this doctor and that, and I've had an MRI, and they say this and that, and I was like, well, you know what, I just feel that I need to share something with you. And she said, what's that? I said, I think I'd like to take you over to see a doctor friend of mine here. Oh, I'm done with doctors. I said, well, this one's not your typical doctor. And she said, okay. So she went, and he did the palpitations, and he did some other, you know, discovery of what was going on. And she went and he diagnosed her, by the way, and he correctly diagnosed her. And she had to have a surgery to rectify what was going on in the belly. And do you know? She's perfect. So she says, wow, I thought I was coming to Belize to just see me and buy property. And she says, and truly, you were just the conduit to get me the healing I need. And I was like, absolutely. So that's how these magical things happen in Belize. And, you know, again, I feel it so powerfully and strong when I share this with you. We have ruins all over the place. All over. Even our downtown, which is just a block from my office, they were putting in water lines, new water lines, and when they did that, and this is a video actually on my Belize Macarena YouTube too, they were just digging to put the water pipes in, and they found artifacts big honking pots and, celebratory items, and that they stopped immediately. And the archaeology department came in. We had breaking news, and we had Antonio Birdal, one of the leading archaeologists, come up and talk about what they were finding on the downtown. And so now they've paved. They haven't paved that road. They now have blocked that road off, a main road in downtown, blocked off, no cars, and they've put block pavers on there just to keep it, the way it is, and then no water line.
Wow.
Yeah, they just changed it. So that energy is everywhere. It's in Belize. It's very strong because there isn't so much interference, and it's just, you're going to love it.
Yes, I know I am. I'm just so grateful
doubt.
For this. That's what I'm saying. Just they're going to just feel the energy.
Yes.
And just the people that I've talked to that are sweet and come encounter with are just amazing. Your staff, and just looking at the video where the young lady was assisting you in driving, and like I said, when you got stuck and your neighbor pulled you out, it was like, wow, you don't get that every day,
No.
So there are things that people are going to have to do, and I know that you'll explain to them about bringing their car if they decide they want to drive to Belize with their car, and what they can do for Belize, and some things about the mail and all that things that you'll explain how they would be imported into Belize and how to handle that, because there's a lot of things of like, supposing you don't want to ship your stuff, you're going to drive it down and put it in your truck and just sell everything. The taxes, there are taxes that you have to pay on that, but it's not as bad. Or is it, giving them the option of actually buying a vehicle there versus, keeping that vehicle and selling it and just coming what you got and just say, call it a day.
And we help them walk through those, there's some very important considerations that, you've shared, and there's considerations that people don't know to think about because they've never made the move. And we've helped many, many people move in the past 11 years and have seen, different pitfalls that weren't good and pitfalls that they could have been avoided had they done X, Y, and Z. So now we pay it forward and we just share these things. So that way people that are aligned and in tune, they'll be like, okay, well, I'm not doing that. Got it. When you already have the lesson, why repeat it, right?
Right. You have a newsletter, right? You have a newsletter?
I do have a newsletter, and they can email me at macarenarose@gmail.com and get on the newsletter.
Okay. And tell them the name of your realty company again so they know, and spell it for them. And
okay.
Tell more about yourself instead of me talking.
I'm better about talking about everything else. No, so the website for the real estate is Rainforest, like the word rainforest, realty, REALTY.com. And then my email, because my name is Macarena, it's MACARENA, Rose, like the flower, ROSE, @gmail.com. So I'm very easy to find, and then if people do, because I have a Skype number, they can call me at 727-565-1507 if they want to reach my Skype number. That way they don't have to pay for a long-distance phone call. But you're doll. I'm glad to share my information.
See, that's nice. And then if you go to our website, you can also fill out an application, what type of property you're looking for, all this information. So, our dates for us going there are going to be December 1st to December 7th of 2015.
Can't wait.
So I want you guys to really, so if you know that, you can make a time, communicate with her, and on this trip, maybe even set up an appointment before or after, or whatever you want to do. It's going to be up to you guys. It's going to, I just know it's going to rock. You guys are going to have the best time.
They are. They're going to, and healing is going to be abundant, and fun will be had by all. I know that for beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I'm excited. So I just, thought, I said, I better share this with the people, exactly what they can do, how they can do it. And I'm trying to think. I didn't miss anything else. We talked about the holidays. We talked about, there's different communities out there. No, we didn't talk about the different communities. There's the rainforest, and the Coyote district. Did I say it right?
That's very good. And then there's the islands, of course, and then there's the mainland that has both rainforest and ocean front. And then there's lots of rivers, my goodness. But I have a feeling we're going to need to do a Belize Talk radio show with you, and we're going to have fun on that. So we'll just share that information with them, too. And you know what? When we figure out this Ustream just perfectly, I think you and I do another Belize one together for your show. I think it'd be fabulous.
That'll be great, because mine's is, I don't know if you can still see me, because my screen is just spinning.
Yes, and I don't know what happened. I can see I can see your beautiful smile. That's it, and it's just imprinted on your face. How beautiful.
I was like, okay, I said my screen. It's something, like I said, and I know that I'm excited, and that's what I've noticed. Like when I'm high energy, that me and electronics and computers and televisions, either I short circuit a television or short circuit radios. I've known to shut down stuff when I'm overexcited. And
well, we're doing really good though. We're still connected. We're still able to speak, and
yes.
we're doing pretty good. There you go.
Yes, I was like, okay, so I'm glad. So it's just spinning, and that's okay. So I was like, I don't know what's being recorded, but we definitely got to do this again, and I want people to get to really know you. So I am, if you don't mind, I want to put a video up of your trip of Belize, and what they will see, when you went to the food market.
Oh, yes.
And also when you went to the waterfalls for people to see, and the nature of people there, because they don't know. There's actually places that you can actually go dancing there. They do dance, and they do have music. So for people that don't know, they do have dances, they do have music, and some in English, some in Spanish. And it's beautiful to see the Belizean people. You just are amazing, and the energy. And they have different Belizean dishes. And that's the thing I want to get people to figure out, to taste some of the Belizean dishes.
So before we say goodbye, I would like to give you a little prayer in Mayan for all your viewers and listeners.
I'm here.
Okay. Tioshi Santa Mudro Manda Mudu Nantat. Satya Sak, Satya Mak, Kishiamu Wanacha Wanapatan.
I like that.
Amen.
Amen. Woohoo! Oh, so you speak Mayan too, huh?
I've been actually trained in rituals and healings of the Mayan culture, which is really fabulous. So we're going to have all sorts of yumminess to share.
Oh, I'm so excited. So, alrighty. I don't want to take any more of your time. And it's been a blissful Sunday with you, ladies and gentlemen. Blissful. I mean, it's just total bliss. I am blissed. And I want you guys to be blessed. And if you have any questions, you can always go to the website, and you can find Macarena Rose on Facebook. You can find her on Google+. You can find her on Twitter, Macarena Rose. You can find her at her website. So these are all the ways, and you can find her on Skype, and you can call her, make an appointment, talk to one of her assistants or herself. These are so many different ways, and she can help you and guide you to, like I said, not a house, but a home.
Big difference.
And there's a difference. I want y'all to remember that. Anybody can have a house, but very few have homes.
You're
and
so
a home's
sweet.
what you make it. That's just my belief. So I say goodbye to everybody, what I like to say is love, light, life, longevity, and prosperity and blessings to everyone. That is what I say, and I wish to everyone out there, I send you many, many, many blessings. So this is the Food Alchemist, a.k.a. ChefSessy, and with Macarena Rose, in live in Belize on a Sunday, that has spent diligently time with us, giving us information and showing and ensuring that our trip is going to be such a success and filled with energy and love when we get there in December 2015. Amen. So I say blessings to everyone. And thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this Sunday with me, Macarena Rose.
My honor
really
and privilege.
Appreciate you. So, all right, now